3 days later at dawn, I was awakened from my sleep by Qingling. Miss, the young general from the Shin mansion has sent someone to propose marriage. I was so startled that I sat up straight. This was more than half a year earlier than when my father arranged a marriage with the Shin family in my previous life. The thought of Shin Jin also coming again flashed through my mind, and a shiver crawled up my back. Did he come personally? Even though I had lanced and bled for Shin Jin that day, without the medicine, the remaining poison would take several more days to clear. Yes, the betrothal gifts brought by the young General Shin almost blocked the road outside. Qingling's words made my heart tremble even more. Where is my father? Qingling sighed upon hearing this. Master didn't even let the young General Shin enter the door and drove him away, saying that Miss is ugly and unvirtuous and not worthy of him. I covered my head with the quilt and snickered secretly. Qingling thought I was sad and continued to comfort me. Miss, don't be sad, the madam is already arguing with the master. Maybe the master will change his mind soon. Change his mind? I was so frightened that I immediately threw off the quilt and got out of bed. Qingling, help me wash up. After a hurried wash, I came to the study and found my father and mother sitting at opposite ends, ignoring each other. Father, mother. I called softly and both looked at me, inadvertently meeting each other's gaze before quickly averting their eyes. You explain it to Ninger yourself. My mother glanced at my father, her eyes filled with anger. Mother, don't be angry. I sat beside her and massaged her shoulders. Father is doing this for my own good. As soon as I finished speaking, my father was very proud. See, I said Ninger has always been considerate, not like you. My mother gave me a look and shook off my hand. That Shin Jin is so good. If you were to marry him. Marry him and you would be in trouble. Always calculating, it's you who has thinned Ninger's luck. Seeing the conflict between the two burning more fiercely because of my arrival, I had to take the opportunity to observe the situation while drinking tea. Do you know what Master Zhou said when I secretly took Shin Jin's birth date and time to him? He said that Shin Jin has a murderous aura, and he will kill every wife he has. A cough. Before I could finish speaking, I choked on my tea from trying to suppress my laughter. Although I looked painful on the surface, I was very happy inside. Zhou Yu had repeated the words to my father without missing a word. My mother hurried over to pat my back, and still couldn't help but scold my father. Look at you, you scared Ninger. My father was unapologetic. This is clearly because of Shin Jin's proposal today that scared Ninger. The laughter couldn't help but surge up, and I coughed even more severely. My mother looked at me with heartache and weakly asked, is there really a murderous aura on Shin Jin? APFF. Cough. I quickly covered my mouth to prevent the laughter from flying out. I knew Shin Jin would not give up easily, but I didn't expect him to follow me. On the second night, I made an appointment with my close friend Xiao Ruoyan to visit the night market. Just like in the last life, to avoid being blamed by our parents, we deliberately avoided the maids and ran out secretly. As soon as I arrived at the agreed tavern, I heard someone calling my name from behind. It was Shin Jin's voice. My heart almost jumped out of my chest. I tried to keep myself calm, and as soon as I turned around, I was dragged into the alley. He was very strong and extremely fast, and the pain had spread to my back before I could react. Looking up, I met his deep and distant gaze. The emotion was unclear. Slap! The palm fiercely slapped his face, and my palm was numb when I pulled back. I used all my strength. This slap was for Wen Ning of the last life. Shin Jin was caught off guard by my slap, and after licking the blood from the corner of his mouth, he looked back at me with a swollen face and a surge of anger in his eyes. Before he could speak, I scolded him without any politeness. You scoundrel. Shin Jin's eyes narrowed, and his eyes were not friendly. But my heart fell, because the Shin Jin in front of me did not have the memory of the last life. The look in Shin Jin's eyes before he died in the last life was not like this. At least when he looked at my tombstone, he would not be so angry. Shin Jin reluctantly pulled the corners of his mouth. I just wanted to ask Miss Wen why she is unwilling to marry me? I was stunned. Was Shin Jin angry because he couldn't marry me? This guess is absolutely impossible. After all, Yi Yenyue once provoked me and said that she and Shin Jin were childhood sweethearts. And at this time, Shin Jin had not even seen my face. Such a deliberate attempt to marry, and even follow me after failing, really makes people think more. Are you Shinjin? I pretended to be afraid and asked softly. Seeing the killing intent in my eyes dissipate, Shinjin responded in a deep voice, "It is I." I fell in love with the lady at first sight and came to propose with sincere intentions, but I didn't expect to be driven out by Mr. One. I want to know if there is something wrong with me? I glanced at Shinjin's originally tense hands gradually relaxing. If I couldn't beat him, I really wanted to slap him again. This person must have used the tassel I dropped that day to find out about me, and it is very likely that he mistakenly thought I deliberately made an excuse to run away that day to report to the official to catch him, and even suspected that I knew his true identity. The proposal was just to test the Wen family's attitude towards him, and seeing that my father refused him without even entering the door, Shinjin must have been suspicious, and tonight he followed me and wanted to kill me to cover up. If I hadn't reacted quickly just now, I would have been killed by Shinjin in this life. I looked at Shinjin pretending to be affectionate, and I held back my disgust and pretended to sigh regretfully. "You are very good. But what? But... I hesitated, "But you have a murderous aura, and you will kill every wife you have." Shinjin's eyes darkened, and I immediately took the opportunity to fan the flames. "My father found this fortune teller in the river, and lake is very accurate. I advise General Shin to not marry in this life, so as not to harm others and yourself." As soon as I finished speaking, Shinjin's fist landed beside my face, and the cold wind brushed past my face. Before Shinjin could speak, a figure jumped down from above. When I came to my senses, Shinjin had already retreated 5 steps, and a tall figure stood in front of me. "I have always hated men who take advantage of women, and I didn't expect to see you, Shinjin, doing such a dirty thing today." Listening to the tone, this man recognized Shinjin and looked like he didn't like Shinjin. I wish Shinjin would be beaten to pieces, and I hurriedly said, "Hero, save me." Shinjin couldn't marry me, and he even intended to do something indecent to me. The moonlight was like a basin of cold water pouring down, making Shinjin's face pale. "Qing I advise you not to meddle." Qing? Is that the Qing who died young on the battlefield and was posthumously awarded as the first king of a different surname in our dynasty? Unconsciously, I recalled the wish I made in front of the Bodhisattva, to live happily, to be a widow for a lifetime, and to break off all marriages. Sure enough, the Bodhisattva did not deceive me. I, Wen Ning, will work hard to become the wife who became a widow at a young age for Qing Yushan in this life.